Wasted Water Sports, ahoy! How are we doing? Welcome to Super Saturday. The very first game of the afternoon. The Cronulla Sharks up against the Newcastle Knights. It's a little bit of a banana skin game. Let's be honest. The Sharks have a lot of banana skins. This is one of them. I've been supporting this team for long enough to know there's a lot of potential issues with this game. Newcastle, and more specifically, one Kalen Ponga from Tonga, seem to have the wood on the Sharks, certainly in recent years. But Newcastle, actually, let me run through the list. As a diehard Sharkies supporter, there's obviously only ever been one premiership year because they kept bottling it in the late 90s when they had a very good team and a very good chance of actually becoming a serious, legitimate premiership threat. Back in those days, they had... Anyways, that's a tangent for another time. But they had a very good team back in the day, the Sharks. Now, teams that the Sharks, that I can tell you firsthand as a long-time supporter, the Sharks will always struggle against the Broncos at Suncorp. They will always struggle at Suncorp in general. That's why, since Magic Round came into existence, they've got a terrible record at Suncorp Stadium. The Raiders are obviously a huge bogey team for the Sharks. The Warriors, they're a little bit of a banana skin game. This one bothers me. This one really, really bothers me because the Knights are another in a long, long list of potential banana skin games for the Cronulla Sharks. So this makes me very, very nervous today. A win today leapfrogs the Sharks. A win by more than 7 points, that is. For and against is very important. A win by more than 7 points leapfrogs the Sharks over the Broncos and up into third spot on the ladder. A loss, however, so close, so tight is the competition. Who knows where they may end up by the end of this round with a one single loss. But anyways, we shall find out. I need to have a little bit more faith in my team, although, as I said, I've been supporting them long enough to know it's wrong to have faith. And I'm starting to feel like Vobsy probably knows what I'm talking about this season. Sometimes it's just wrong to have faith, and you're just setting yourself up for extreme disappointment. But anyways, welcome along, NRL with Braden, ahoy there, UFC only fams, Vobsy, Will, ahoy everybody, let's get ready for Super Saturday, the first game. I do apologise, I was a little late starting. You know what, I've had words with myself, I've had serious, legitimate words with myself, because obviously, when we started Wasted Water Sports, or I should say, actually, I'm allowed to be a little bit, what's the word? I'm allowed to toot my own horn a little bit here, surely. I started Wasted Water Sports. Michelle comes along and co-hosts the games that she picks and chooses, which is absolutely fine. But I think I'm allowed to say in this instance with the story that I'm telling, because I always try and say we, but I think in this instance, in this story, it's fine for me to say I started Wasted Water Sports. I created the channel, did all the setup and everything, did some trials with the Rugby Union World Cup in 2019. But we've only really done it semi-seriously over the past season, and what would be about a quarter of the way through the season. Actually, almost halfway through. God, the year's going quick. Anyways, my point being, it's obviously going really well. We're obviously really enjoying ourselves. If we are serious about taking Wasted Water Sports to the next level, then I think I've had words with myself. Let me just say. Let me make myself accountable to you guys in the chat room. All of you in the chat room right now, whether it's YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, I make myself accountable. Now that we've obviously decided we enjoy it and we want to keep doing it, to take things to the very next step, there needs to be some more consistency. If I announce a starting time, I need to make sure that I meet that starting time. Because what happens, obviously, is if you're not live, at the time you say you're going to be live, people think you're not doing it, and they bugger off and they find other channels to occupy themselves with, right? So, obviously, I had announced that this would be starting at 2:30. I was dicking about in Adobe After Effects creating an intro video, which is going to be fantastic. It's going to be fantastic when it's done, but I probably shouldn't be doing it with 15 minutes to go before the live stream, when your average video render probably takes at least 20 minutes to complete. So I tried to sneak it in so that it would be ready to go for this game, rather than just doing the safe thing and saying, okay, it's done now, I can render it later, and I can have it ready for the next round. But it's pretty cool. I like it. It's kind of old school. It's old school Channel 9 retro feel, 3D animation with overlays of some snippets of commentary. I think it's pretty cool, and I hope that you will enjoy it once it is finally released. I was also going to do a pre-game today and actually pick that New South Wales Blues State of Origin team. Anyways, I've had words with myself. We're serious about taking things to the next level here, stepping up and making Wasted Water Sports a legitimate thing. So I've told myself off. Let's see how it goes. I've now made myself accountable to all of you out there that are currently tuning in and joining me for Super Saturday. So we'll see. We'll see how well I go. If it's anything like my exercise regime, it's going to go good for a week and a half, and then I'll just bugger off into obsoleteness. If that's even a word. All right, so Vobsy has brought up anytime try scorers. Let's jump over to the game screen so that I can share with you my 4-leg same-game multi for this one. Gamer Mel, ahoy there. How are you doing? Gamer Mel, I've actually got a whole stack of disposable cups out in the kitchen, and I'm actually very tempted. Get me drunk enough, and I'll be doing live stream cup stacking attempts, and it'll be hilarious. It'll be hilarious because I'll be so bad, but it could be so funny. Anyway, tangents. Sione Katoa, anytime try scorer. Britton Nakora, anytime try scorer. Jesse Ramian, anytime try scorer. Now, the reason that I've done this is because I have checked out the preseason game between the Sharks and the Knights, and the Sharks just absolutely decimated the Knights down the left-hand edge. Obviously, the teams look a little bit different. Both teams, it was just a preseason game. But it would obviously factor into some capacity for the way that the teams play. For the Knights, I've gone Greg Marju, anytime try scorer. So he's over there on the... He's number 5 for the Knights. So he'd be over on the right-hand side. He'd be attacking that left-hand edge where Matt Moylan is positioned. They might not damage as far out as the wing. So I think Bradman Best would have been another sort of... Bradman Best would have been another good option there, or a Dane Gagai. It might not make it out as far as Marju, but that channel of defense where Matt Moylan stands really, really bothers me. The Corey R1 says Ramian Nakora for me was on last night. Nice. Yeah, I think they're going to have a lot of success down that left-hand edge, the Sharks. Here's a conversation we're probably not allowed to have in 2023, but I'm going to have it anyway because I don't care. They can try and cancel me all they want. Doesn't bother me. But I still stand by. Now, obviously, I might be a little bit biased when it comes to the footy and my team. But this is definitely something I would not have any bias about team-wise. I still say the Cronulla Sharks have the best cheerleaders in the competition. Read into that whatever you will. It's probably better in 2023 to leave it at that. See, I'm a clever man. Choose your words very wisely, very carefully. Say enough without saying too much. That was a piece of advice that was given to me before I started my YouTube journey about 6 years ago. Not with this channel. This channel's only been going for a couple of years properly. But my YouTube content creation journey, that was the piece of advice that I was given. Say just enough without saying too much. And it has served me pretty well. Say things in a way where there is always an alternate meaning to what you actually mean, so that you can realistically backtrack if you need to. Very clever. I should be in politics. Oh, God. Now there's a ridiculous thought. Me in politics? That'd certainly never be a boring day at the office. If there's any wrestling fans in the chat room, me in politics, that'd be a shake-up to the system. If anyone was watching WWE during the Attitude Era, and there was that storyline where Stone Cold Steve Austin got made the president or whatever it was of WWE for that little brief period of time, and he kept going into the office. They had all those segments. Stone Cold sitting in the boardroom cracking beers during the business meetings and whatnot. Anyway. Both teams out on the panic now, getting ready to get this game underway. Sharks versus the Knights. As I said, if the Sharks win by more than 7 points, more than 7, they are going to leapfrog the Broncos and go into third spot on the ladder. They have a history of completely dropping the ball when it comes to the Knights. So we'll see. Mr. Ed's dead. Ahoy there, mate. How are you doing? Speaking of politics, I should run for American president. I couldn't do any worse than creepy Uncle Joe. But I digress. Let's not get started. Let's not get this stream shut down before it even begins. As the Sharks get us underway here. Oh, it's a game I'm extremely nervous about. James Intox, ahoy, mate. How good was last night, huh? Oh, I'm so disappointed. Look, there's been some stuff happening behind the scenes. Some personal stuff that I will not go into, but I wasn't feeling up for it last night. But boy, were those a good couple of games that I missed. Hopefully, fingers crossed, hopefully, we can all shut the hell up about this stupid Rabbitohs hype train now, because they got demolished. Latrell Mitchell went missing. Although you wouldn't know it from the Fox Sports commentary. But Latrell went missing, so maybe we can stop and realize that the entire game does not shine out of Latrell Mitchell's asshole. Nothing's really happened yet, though, Gamer Mel. Okay, it was still wrong, though. Good call. Good call. Sharks with the ball on tackle 4 here, anyways. Up over halfway. They've made some good meters here. They're getting themselves slowly but surely into an attacking position. There's one of my try scorers, Nikora, up on tackle 5. They're 40 out. They stay blindside. Everyone's offside on this near side. And Lockie Miller. At what point can we stop calling him a rugby union convert? Probably never. No! James! James! James Intox! Stop it! Stop it! You're killing me, man. You're killing me. Gutherson at centre? Do you remember what happened when Gutherson tried to defend in centre that year that he was picked? The Blue, his missed tackle on Kurt Capewell, a very, very simple missed tackle on Kurt Capewell, swung the entire series. The Blues were just comfortably going into halftime, and then Gutherson misses a simple one-on-one with Capewell, and the whole momentum swung for the rest of the match, and as a spin-on effect, the rest of the series. No, thank you. Not at centre. Not at centre. Please. He's not a centre. I mean, even Eels fans can surely honestly admit Gutherson is not a centre. Great club fullback, not a centre. Hamish McKenzie, ahoy, mate. Anyways, sorry, Hamish, I was on a little bit of a rant. Oh, Kalen Ponga's had head contact again. Seriously, I say this every Newcastle game because he has head damage every Newcastle game. Whose bright idea was it to put him in the front line? Why is this man playing 5/8? A man who is one serious concussion away from career ending. He's off for a HIA, Kalen Ponga. Stop it. Put him at the back. Put Kalen Ponga back to fullback where he belongs. He's a natural fullback. He's off for another HIA. Yeah, I'm doing all right. Thanks, Hamish. Thank you. Thank you for checking in. Hopefully I get a chance to do an Intoxigamer stream coming up so that I can reconnect with all my Intoxi buddies over there on Intoxigamer.com. Kalen Ponga off for a HIA 3.5 minutes into this contest. Tyson Gamble on. Who'd have thought that moving Kalen Ponga into 5'8"? Oh, Lockie Miller spills the ball at the back, and Matt Moylan, of all people, Matty Moylan, is there to pinch the ball, and the Sharks are on the attack, 10 out. Hunt close to the line. The Sharks, this could be a dream start. Brayley from dummy half. They're right in front of the post, just a metre out. Moylan out the back to Hines. They've created some space on the outside. Ramian goes on his own and spills the ball over the sideline. Bradman best with the defence. Solid defence. Causes the mistake. Fitzy can't believe it. Oh, but no, probably not tonight, Hamish. Probably not tonight. I've got 3 games of footy to call this afternoon. I very much doubt I'll feel like extending my time and doing Intoxigamer as well, but you never know. The Knights survive that first little attacking raid from the Sharkies. Jesse Ramian, I've got him in my same game multi, obviously, for any time try scorer, but I'm not sold on Jesse Ramian. He had a real purple patch before he went to, I'm pretty sure he went to Super League. Actually, I think Ramian went to the Knights for a season, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, he buggered off somewhere, I'm pretty sure, and then I think he might have gone to Super League, and now he's come back to the Sharks, and he just has not come back the same player that he was. But he's better than Talakai, so I'm more than happy for him to stay out there in the centres. He just needs to learn how to pass the ball. So many backline players just die with Jesse Ramian because he can't pass. As Hines fires across a double cutout pass, and Nikra is standing out on the wing. But the Knights scramble across and shut it down before any damage is done. But what a pinpoint perfect pass from Hines. And up inside the 10. A relieving penalty here for the Sharkies. Adventurous stuff from Hines. Pulls it off perfectly. Just trying to stamp his authority for that Blues number 14 jumper. Nico Hines. The more I think about it, Nico Hines for 14 for the Blues. I don't think he's even in the discussion for starting at number 6. Oh, Sione Katoa breaks through the first tackle. He's coming back into form. Katoa is cut down. Just a metre short of the line. He walks away holding his jaw. He might have got clipped a bit high. Now Moylan sets the play alight. Kennedy dummies and goes through the gap on his own. Will Kennedy. Will Kennedy, what a player. I thought about having him in my multi. And Will Kennedy, he is in a fine run of form. We were talking about Will Kennedy on the Discord. I want to say it was about a week and a half ago, somewhere thereabouts. He is definitely a future rep player. What representation he gets, only time will tell, but he is very unlucky to be behind a long list of quality fullbacks. The NRL is sort of in a golden era of quality fullbacks, isn't it? Tedesco, Turbo, Gutherson, Kennedy, Edwards. That young fella at the Tigers, he's got some quality about him. Bullimore, is that his name? No, that's not it. What's his name? Hang on, I'll look it up, just so that we're not left hanging on what that name is. But we are in a golden... Reece Walsh, let's not forget about Reece Walsh, although Reece Walsh has got a lot of work to do. Oh, Jerome Buller. Jerome Buller, that youngster over at the Tigers. He's very green, but you can see there's a lot of upside there in his game. Hines from out wide on the left-hand sideline. Hooking it back. Hooks it through. Just inside the near post. 6 points to 0. Sharks. What a start for them inside the first 10 minutes. Where was this done, though? Remember the pre-game? And I said the Sharks in that pre-season match, they just peppered the Knights down the left-hand edge. And their first try, 8 minutes into the game, down that left-hand edge, Will Kennedy sells the dummy and goes straight through. So keep an eye on that left-hand attacking edge of the Sharks. That's where they did all the damage in pre-season, and that's where they've got their first try tonight. And that's why I just stacked. I stacked the Sharkies same game try scorer multi with the left-hand edge. Six points to 0 Sharks. And this is a very solid start to the set. Expansive play on tackle 1, and Katoa making some space. They're 30 out from the line now. Hines keeps it down the blind side. Ramian, no pass. The play dies with him, as it often does. Fifth and last now, Sharks. Hines, crossfield kick. Mulatalo's up above everybody. It falls kindly for Newcastle. But they have to start this set 2 meters out from their own line. And it is a long, long way to go upfield. Still no word on Caleb Ponga. That'll be interesting to keep tabs on. Caleb Ponga, that's the big story in this game. Who'd have thought that moving a matchstick into the front line was going to create head assessment issues? Who'd have thought? I mean, nobody saw that coming, right? Nobody ever saw that happening. Kalen Ponga has had about 10 years taken off his career by being moved into a position that he can't even play anyway. I don't understand it. Oh, Kennedy almost into a gap. Ducks under the tackle, but they bring him down in the second attempt. Sorry, I went quiet because I just heard the Fox Sports commentary describe the Sharks as the best attacking team in the competition. And I'm just wondering on what metric they're basing that. Oh, straight through goes Mulatalo. A try-saving ankle tap. Oh, it wasn't Mulatalo anyways. It was Kaufusi. How have I managed to get Mulatalo and Kaufusi confused? That'll be a talking point. It's all Sharks, though. 11 minutes into this game, it is all Sharks. Vopsy said, Dan, do you think people will jump up and down if Tedesco gets picked? No, I don't think so. I was having this conversation with some of you may remember Morgan, the Queensland supporter who was in one video on Wasted World Sports back when the channel when the NRL side of the channel began last season. He did one video and then he got a job offer in Cambodia, I'm pretty sure it was. A job offer that he couldn't refuse. And so suddenly he wasn't really able to do videos anymore. So he was here for the one, and then you never saw or heard from him again. I was having a chat to him on Facebook the other night as Will Kennedy diffuses the high ball in style. And the Sharks are looking very, very solid early in this game. But as we know from the Sharks, they are a 40-minute team. And they've obviously decided tonight that the good 40 is going to be in the first half. So, oh, straight through the gap goes Connor Tracey. Support on the outside from Nico Hines. Hines will race away and score under the post. Nico Hines. Oh, stand up. He is front and centre. Front and centre for the Blues, number 14, utility role, Nico Hines. 10 points to nil, Sharks. They have just started with unbelievable game speed. The thing is, here's what I would say about James Tedesco. James Tedesco is a big game player. He might not be having the greatest of seasons by his standards, but the Roosters are having far from a good season. Sometimes it's hard to live up to prior expectations when you're playing behind a beaten team. And I think it's safe to say the Roosters... Whoa, wait a minute. Wait just a minute. This try might not be so clear-cut. We are going all the way back over to the other side of halfway to look for something, anything at all, to take the try off them. And it will be this obstruction. Oh, boy, this try is going to be scrubbed out. We have gone back 70 metres upfield. We have gone back 70 metres to find a minor incident to scrub this try away. It stays 6 points to nil to the Sharks. Gordon Tallis, I believe it was talking about this just the other night. It's like we are looking for reasons. We are looking for reasons to take tries away these days. We're looking for any little reason to take points off the board. Oh my God, James! You're killing me, mate. You're killing me. Latrell at fullback and Gutherson at centre. Oh my God, break out the record books with that defensive structure. I mean, I'm sorry. Everyone's entitled to your opinion, and I appreciate it. But do you think that we could really afford the laziest fullback in the game and a very, very weak defensive centre? If you're going to pick anybody other than Tedesco, can Gutherson play fullback and Latrell in the centre? I would be much happier with that setup. Because Gutherson is a bloody great try diffuser. Look at that miracle that Gutherson pulled off with his foot the other night. As a mistake is made at the back here from the Sharks, they have just had a try scrubbed out. And Matt Moylan... Wasn't Matt Moylan back there dropping the ball? Got a case of the dropsies. Oh no, Matt Moylan's actually been... Well, Saifiti's offside there. I would have thought Connor Tracey it is who can't pick up the loose ball. It's knocked backwards. It's play on at this point. And then it's not knocked on by the Knights. Oh, Tyson Frizzell knocks it on and the Sharkies survive. Boy, that was close. I'm working with you here, though, James. I'm working with you. I'm trying to work with you. But can we have, if you want Latrell and Gutherson in the team and not Teddy, can Latrell play centre and Gutherson at fullback? Gutherson is a miracle worker on try defusals and defense at the back, whereas Latrell's got the X factor in attack, but he's a lazy defender as a fullback. Vomsy, it's not. I'm having a legitimate conversation. If we want those two players in, let's just say that there's a mountain of injuries. Okay, Tedesco's not picked. Edwards is injured. Kennedy's injured. Turbo's clearly injured anyway, so that's a realistic thing. Tommy Turbo's injured. Let's just go with it and have a conversation about it. Gutherson and Latrell are your two options. Surely Gutherson goes to fullback, Latrell goes to centre. That's my argument. Gutherson is a far more secure defensive fullback than Latrell. Latrell is purely an attacking threat. He's terrible defensively, but he's an attacking threat. He's clearly an attacking threat. So put him in the centres, put him in the front line. I mean, Gutherson played centre that year that Freddie picked him and he got steamrolled by everyone. I don't think he knows how to defend at centre because he's a fullback. But anyways, it's not going to happen because Teddy's a big game player. He's the incumbent. He's the captain. So I think what you'll find as the Knights are on the attack here, 10 metres out on tackle 5, looking to tie this ball game up. Fifth and last, to the left they go. Hastings short. And that's the fifth and last, and that is a meek and measly handover. And solid defense from the Sharks. And, oh, boy, isn't it interesting how much improved the Sharks' defense has been the past couple of weeks when the Sofa's been out injured. I just want to say, I have obviously gone on and on about Siosifa Talakai and what a defensive liability he is. And I can't help but notice how few points the Sharks have leaked the past couple of weeks while he's been out injured. Anyway, just saying. Just saying. Can we keep the... Surely this is enough for Fitzy to go, you know what? We're actually better this way. Hines kicking from inside his own 30. He gets a good angle on it, but oh, it's the Warney spinner. And it cuts back infield towards the goalpost. Bowled him around his legs. And Newcastle get the ball. 20 out from their own line. But yeah, Teddy's got a bit of a sense of the gag eyes about him, in my opinion. He's got that state of origin switch. I mean, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is the thing that I like to think this about myself anyway. It might not actually be true, but I like to think that I'm always willing to put my hand up and say I was wrong and be corrected. I don't recall Teddy ever having a bad game at origin level. I mean, a complete downright shocker. Ponga puts the kick in behind. He's clearly still suffering head injuries because that was a ridiculous decision and it was a terribly executed kick. Somehow Ponga's passed his HIA and he's back on the field, but that kick really makes me ask questions about whether he legitimately passed or not. Sharks are going absolutely nowhere in attack, though. Absolutely nowhere. Ever since they've had that try scrubbed off, it's like the heads have dropped a little bit. And this is the problem with the Sharks at the moment. This is why I believe they're not a premiership threat just yet. I said last season, they ended up finishing second, and they went out pretty limp-wristed in the finals. I said last year they're a couple of years off being a legitimate premiership threat. I still don't think... I think they'll be in the 8 this year, but I don't think they'll really threaten anybody. And that's the sort of thing. This is the sort of stuff. Their heads have dropped. Their heads have not come back in the game. They are deflated after having that try ripped off them and then very nearly giving one up in return. And those are the premiership qualities that teams have. The Storm, the Panthers, the Broncos of the 90s. The heads don't drop. The Roosters, the heads don't drop. When things go against you, the heads don't drop. Your intensity doesn't drop off. You just keep going through. You keep going through the motions. You keep playing your game. And things turn around again. But the Sharks have very, very visibly gone down a notch. Ever since that overturned decision, it's been all Newcastle. All Newcastle. All the territory has been down the Sharks' end. All the possession has been with the Knights. The Sharks are barely getting out of their own 40. I agree with you on the sentiment, James. Absolutely. I 100% agree with you on the sentiment. I think the thing that the Blues need to start doing, in my personal opinion... Saifidi breaks through on his ankle, tapped by Brayley, the smallest man on the field. Saves the day over one of the biggest. Now Ponga runs it to the line. Has Bradman Best in support. Back on the inside. Bradman Best was held, surely. And Kalen Ponga from Tonga. He's back on the field. His head's obviously pretty clear at the moment. And the Knights, who have experienced the past 10 or so minutes of just complete domination, they finally have some points on the board to show for it. I guess Best he's held here, but no, he still had his feet. He still had 1 foot up. That's fair game, and that is a try. But anyways, my point that I was in the middle of making, James, I think, how about for something a little bit different, the Blues actually pick the best players in their best positions? It sounds bloody crazy, I know. But rather than picking 7 fullbacks in the back line, how about we pick the best players in the best positions for a change? And so obviously that would mean Campbell Graham gets a debut. But that would be what I would personally do differently from New South Wales teams of recent years. Well, not even recent years, of all years gone by. Picking the best players in their best position is just something they've never done. So Campbell Graham for one of the centre roles. Latrell Mitchell moved to fullback because he wants fullback money, which I completely understand. Who doesn't want fullback money? I would love fullback money, but I'm clearly not a fullback. I clearly belong up front with the heavy hitters doing the hard work. But Latrell legitimately is a centre. He always was a centre. He always will be a centre. So Latrell, despite playing at fullback for his club, Latrell's the other centre. If you really want Gutherson in the side, pick him in his best position. Don't just try and fit him in somewhere that he doesn't play. Gutherson would be the fullback if you want Gutherson in the team. Or he gets a well, here's the thing. Here's the thing, James. Whiten has retired from rep level. Jack Whiten's not an option. He has retired. But if you want a genuine utility... See, I actually don't agree with the way that New South Wales... I honestly think they'll keep it up. I think New South Wales will once again go with 2 hookers on the bench. I mean, not on the bench. 2 hookers. I think they will go with Damien Cook, Api Coruscant. All they've done in that instance is copied Queensland. Queensland with Harry Grant coming off the bench. I don't think you're going to win by just copying what Queensland do, because we've got a different style of play, different players to pull it off. You're just occupying a bench spot by having two hookers in the team. So I would actually go with Cook. I think Cook is Cook's probably the more solid player, but Coruscant brings the greater X factor. So I would probably start Coruscant at hooker. Damien Cook is very unlucky to miss out. He'll be there if there's any injuries. But I think you've got to have a genuine utility in that number 14 role for the Blues. And if you want to talk about a genuine utility player, Nicho Hynes. He can't play 5'8", but he can fill in anywhere else. He can cover for Tedesco at fullback. He can cover for Cleary at halfback. He can cover wing. He played everywhere in the back line for the Storm, so he can pretty much cover any position except for 5'8". I don't understand why there is even a conversation about potentially starting Hynes at 5'8", a position he's never played before in his entire career. Mr. Ed's Dead says, be right back, got to drive some drunks home. I don't recall calling for a lift. Oh, you're not talking about me. All right. Enjoy. Oh, Tupou can't be picked. No way. Daniel Tupou is not even in the conversation. And yeah, he's injured anyway, but... Tupou's injured. Campbell Gillard's injured. Whiten has retired. So those are 3 players that will not be picked. Now the Sharks have got their shape back on the left-hand edge. Solid defense on Connor Tracey, though. 5th and last for the Sharkies. 20 out from the line. This has somehow turned into a game about State of Origin talk. Oh, tap back infield. Kennedy. Oh, that's a terrible second kick by Will Kennedy. He would have put it out on the full if there were 3 fields side by side. So much was put on that kick. Mulatalo doing all the hard work, bringing it back in, and then Kennedy just kicks it into the training fields out of the stadium. Sorry, I am prone to exaggeration. But the Sharks finally starting to show some shape in their attack again. They have been so quiet ever since that try for Nicho Hynes was overturned. It has been all Newcastle ever since that decision, and they are just now starting to show something on attack again, Cronulla. But so far, it's been, overall, sums up the Sharks of the past 2 seasons. They came out with a hiss and a roar. Oh, that's a terrible, dreadful mistake. Tyson Frizzell might have just dropped himself out of any Origin talks that may have been happening about him, although I doubt there were any. The New South Wales team gets announced on Monday, Game ML, so I have got between now and Monday morning to actually get off my ass and do a video about picking my Dan Intox New South Wales Blues squad. I can't believe I still haven't done it. And this is what I'm talking about. This is what I was giving myself a rev up about before the stream started. It's like, come on, if you're serious about this content creation stuff, you've actually got to do something. Poke me with a stick and say, do something. I've been talking about it for 12 weeks. For 12 weeks, as Hynes gets away from the tackle, gets the pass inside. Is that Nakora? Oh, he got close, Nakora. No, it was Ramian. God, I get players confused a lot. It must be so hard to follow along sometimes. I'm calling people different people and I forget certain words. Royce Hunt. He's been out for a couple of weeks. He's come back with some extra hair. Moylan out the back to Kennedy, to Mulatalo, untouched on the outside, and the Sharks get their shape back. The Sharks get their vibe back. And once again, it's down that left-hand edge. What have I done with my multi? What have I done with my same-game multi? I actually stood here and said how I watched the preseason match between the Sharks and the Knights, and the Sharks just peppered the Knights down the left-hand edge. So what do? Everybody in my same-game multi plays on the right. Some people just can't help themselves. Conversion successful. Conversial? I may have just created a new word. When the conversion is successful and we are short on time, we will just call it a conversial. Jose Estrada. Hey. Wasn't Jose Estrada, wasn't he part of Los Boricuas? Los Boricuas with Savio Vega, Jose Estrada, and Jesus. Anyway, I might be mistaken. Welcome along, though, Jose Estrada. Who do I think will... Well, I think that the Sharks will win, and I hope that the Sharks will win, but rugby league is a funny old game. Last night, we had a couple of upsets thrown our way. Two upsets in 2 games. People always ask if I'm related to Eric Estrada. Are you? Oh, Kennedy through the gap again. Oh, Will Kennedy's on fire today. He's having a blinder of a game. I mean, apart from that time that he kicked the ball 3 stadiums out on the full, they've let it bounce here, the Knights. It could go anywhere. And Lockie Miller gets back to clean up and run it over the dead ball line, and he is fired up. He is not happy. Lockie Miller cannot believe it. Well, to be honest, Lockie Miller, he might be firing up, but that's the fullback's ball, I would have thought. Although it's, Dominic Young, Lockie Miller both sort of look at each other. Nobody called it. But that's got to be the fullback's ball. Short dropout. Funnily enough, it hasn't yielded a result. And it's Mulatalo as the Sharks now start 10 out from the line. I just cannot. Can someone please explain to me? Oh, that's terrible. That is terrible. Dropping the ball cold and untouched on tackle 1. Was that Teague Wilton? No, it was Jack Williams. Oh, off the hook there, the Knights. Oh, well, can we count that as a result for the short dropout? Oh, Fitzy can't believe what he's witnessing today. It's doing his head in. Absolutely doing his head in. One thing that I can't understand is how more, and I realize a lot of them are, but how more rugby coaches are not bald. Big defense here by the Sharks, keeping the Knights pinned down in their own territory. Up over halfway, they go. The Knights, fifth and last. 8.5 minutes to go till half-time. Hastings puts it high. Kennedy moves forward. Ponga chases through. They have contact. It's fair. It's a challenge for the ball. And Kennedy, another impressive take under pressure. Oh, Hines, nothing doing on the right-hand side. He cuts back left, and he's taken down on tackle 3. And again, territory just hard to come by here for the Sharks. Hines holding the back of his head, hoping for a penalty. One would have to believe it's the cause for this hold-up in play. He was ever so slightly lifted. He's had a bit of a crusher too. A little bit of a crusher there from the Knights number 15, Jacob Siosifa, that is. Hey. Crusher tackle, and that is why Hines stayed down, and that is also why he has magically popped back up to his feet. He felt the pressure on the back of his neck. He stayed down long enough to earn the penalty. And the Sharks, a very relieving penalty at that, because they are finding meters hard to come by. They lead 12 points to 6. Jose Estrada. So in this that we're covering right now, this is my favorite team playing, the Cronulla Sharks. In the rugby union, I go for the Canterbury Crusaders and the New Zealand All Blacks. And of course, in this one, the rugby league that we're watching right now, the NRL, we are getting ready for the State of Origin as Queensland take on New South Wales. Now, I live in Queensland, but I was born and raised in New South Wales. Well, raised for a few years. Parents moved to Queensland when I was very little. Funnily enough, I was born in Newcastle, so you would have thought that I would go for Newcastle, but I've made my choice of the Sharks, and I'm happy with it. Even though Newcastle have won the premiership more than the Sharks, so maybe I should have stuck with Newcastle. Oh, well, doesn't matter. You like what you like, isn't it? Sometimes there's no real reasoning behind liking what you like. How do I like living in Queensland? It's fine. I mean, it's always a bit of a problem at State of Origin time because Queensland usually win. Queensland usually beat New South Wales in this State of Origin, so it's hard being surrounded by Queenslanders at this time of the year. But it is what it is. I mean, it's pretty easy living in Australia when it comes to Bledisloe Cup time and you go for the All Blacks. Hines out the back. Now they've created space and it's been knocked on by Sione Katoa. Sione Katoa was so goddamn shocked that Jesse Ramian actually passed the ball. He wasn't ready to catch it. And it was a terrible pass, which is probably why Ramian doesn't pass all that often. It was up over his shoulder. And the one time that I've ever seen Jesse Ramian pass the ball, Sione Katoa was as shocked as I was. He wasn't ready for it, and over the sideline it goes, and this has been a sloppy performance, really, from the Sharks. 12 out of 20 completions. I am stunned, actually, that with a 60% completion rate, they are currently holding on to a 6-point lead. 6 points is not going to be good enough to get them up above the Broncos on the table. They need to win by more than 7. But let's just get the win first, because this has been a disastrous first 40 minutes overall. It was a great first 10. It's been an absolute stink job of a... Stink job sounds like some weird... Stink job sounds like some weird genre of pornography that should not be looked up. I'm just saying that. I promise to never say stink job ever again. It just sounds wrong on so many levels. As Ponga's taken a little bit high around the shoulders. And now a slow play the ball. As Hastings sends it out to the right, short ball, and a crunching tackle. Matt Croker has just been dumped viciously. He was dumped over text message. And now Connor Tracey swoops on the loose ball. He's away upfield. Steps inside Gagai. He's taken down 40 out. Front foot ball here for the Sharks at last. Mulatalo takes on Ponga. Gets over the halfway line. The Sharks will have the last say here in this first half. More points would be so valuable. Honestly, though, even as a supporter, I've got to say, they don't deserve it. 6 points difference is probably justified. Any more points? The way that they've played, as I said, 12 out of 20 completion rate, 60%, unacceptable at any level of the game. As Moylan puts it out the back to Hines. Hines passes out to Tracey, gets a kind bounce, breaks away from Young. 20 out from the line they are now on tackle 4. Williams trying to make up for his huge error earlier. 5th and last 3 to go till the break. They stay on the short side. Hines, he loves the short side. Puts the kick through, and Kalen Ponga in the slips. Dives across and takes the ball. 2.5 to go till the break. Newcastle ball. $12 points to 6 looks like the score that's going to be taken into halftime unless the Sharks get the ball back here and snap a cheeky drop goal. Miller running across field. Dummying. He's still going across field, Miller. Now he straightens. Now he's driven sideways and he's close to the sideline here. Lockie Miller, he's taken over and Mulatalo's got a shoulder problem here. About 4 or 5 players fell on the top of Mulatalo. And he immediately popped up. And he's got something's kinked in his shoulder there. As he lands heavily with players on top of him. He seems all right, though. He's up. He's giving himself a shower with the water bottle. He's up and about, though. Seems like he's all good. And the Sharks, once again, invited by the Knights to have the last say in this first half. 1 minute and 10 seconds to go. 6 points the difference. Shape out to the right. Kennedy, who's had a great game, tries to come back in field. They are just 10 out from the line. Brayley's out in playmaker. Cut out pass by Moylan. Kennedy. Connor Tracey, rather. Forward pass. And that will definitely send us into 12 points to 6 at halftime. It's been a miserable first half by the Sharks. They have been absolutely awful. Apart from the first 10 minutes, they have been truly awful. And somehow they will be going into halftime with a 6-point lead. Maybe. There's still 30 seconds left. Anything could happen here from this scrum. But somehow holding on to a 6-point lead here, the Sharks. There'll be a couple of tackles left for the Knights in 20 seconds. Ten seconds to go. What can the Knights come up with? Out the back it goes to Hastings. They play through the back line. They created an overlap. They don't use it, though. They cut back infield. Gagai fires the ball across. Ponga is absolutely crunched in the tackle and loses the ball forward. Oh, Jesse Ramian absolutely lined him up. But I dare say, despite the fact that they're behind here, the Knights probably go in halftime the happier of the two teams, because the Sharks, the way they started, they could not keep up the intensity, whereas the Knights just eased their way into the game. Nothing real magical has been shown from the Knights. As a Shark supporter, I'm not exactly feeling threatened at this point in time, but if they can just hang in... there's Lara Pitt. Thank you. Oh, the very first thing Nico Hines says as he walks to the sheds, as Lara Pitt asks him about the game so far, the very first thing Nico says is our completion rate is not good enough. That's what I was going on about for the past 10 minutes. 60% completion rate is nowhere near good enough. If the Knights just hold on to this 6 points differential, the longer this game goes on, they could potentially sneak one here. So the Sharks, they'll be happy enough that they have the lead going into halftime. The way that they've played, though, it's probably a little undeserved. 60% completion rate. Just completely unacceptable. But anyway, a lead is a lead. A win is a win, potentially. You take them however you get them. And at the moment, it is the Sharks who are ahead. I think the Knights will probably, despite the deficit on the scoreboard, they probably go into halftime slightly happier with the way things are going at the moment. They are not out of this game at all. Dom Young plays for England, James. He's an English international. He lit up the World Cup. Had a very, very good Rugby World Cup there for the Poms. All right. Wow. 12 points to 6 halftime. This is nowhere near comfort zone for the Sharks. The whole game swung for them. That disallowed try. They just didn't really recover from that. They've been quite disastrous ever since then. All right. I am going to try right now. Ahmed, ahoy. Ahmed Hey. Is that Ahmed Johnson? How cool would that be? Ahmed Johnson. I've got to bring everything back to wrestling, don't I? Sorry about that, everyone. Everything's got to come back to wrestling. Jose Estrada. Oh, wasn't he from Los Periquas? Wrestling. Ahmed Johnson. Wrestling. Attitude Era wrestling, though. Not the nonsense that we see today. But I digress. All right. This is clearly not going to work on a live stream because too many things distract me. I get distracted by every little thing in the chat room. So this is probably not going to work, but should I try and pick this New South Wales team and just see how far we get? It's clearly not going to work. I am far too easily distracted. But anyways, Ahmed Johnson has asked, is Jason Saab faster than Josh Adokar? On pure pace, Jason Saab probably is faster than Josh Adokar. But the thing that Jason Saab seems to forget is that he's playing rugby league, and so he's got to hold on to the ball first. So in terms of catching a pass, holding the pass, and then running, I would give the nod to Josh Adokar. Jason Saab has still got a little bit of development to go in the basics. But big upside, big potential, and he is a very valuable addition to that Manly squad for sure. Who would win, Manly or Raiders? Well, at the moment, the Raiders. The Raiders are on fire at this particular point in time. They are going through a real purple patch of form. Ricky's Green Goblins get the nod from me right at the moment. Manly is your team? Oh, well, then you know what I'm talking about. Manly started the season so well. So well. It's been very disappointing the way they've been going for the past couple of, the past few rounds. They got that big win over the Storm. Monster of a win over the Storm. Tommy Turbo's clearly not 100%. That's a big thing for Manly at the moment. Okay, let's see. Where do I find this thing? Not sure if you answered this, but where is your jersey? Oh, it's around here somewhere. Yeah. It's around here somewhere. I obviously take it down when the Sharks aren't playing, and if I remember, I put it back up. Sometimes I don't remember. One of these days, I'm actually going to utilize. I had this whole studio done up as I pretty much had the entire studio done up as a green screen behind me. I've got a portable green screen behind me. The walls were painted green in the background there. The curtains were green because it was my recording studio. It was my content creation studio. I had myself purposely surrounded with green screens. One of these days, I'm actually going to use it. Oh, I've got myself some Sauvignon Blanc. Very nice little drop. You know what? This is actually only $10 a bottle. And I love my white wines. Yeah. Because you know what they say? Some people are very anti-alcohol, but you know what they say about a bottle of wine a day is actually quite good for you. Remember, I might be prone to exaggeration. No, I think legitimately it's a glass of wine at night is actually scientifically proven to be healthy for you. But yes, as I said, prone to exaggeration. It doesn't... Hey, what does it matter if my glass happens to be this big? It's still a glass. You can't argue with me. Peter Barra from PNG, and want the ref to be fair with his decision makings, please. The referee's been fine today. The referee has been absolutely fine today, but it is obviously a very, very big topic of conversation for the season overall. The season overall, some of the refereeing decisions have been questionable at best, ridiculous at worst. Ahmed's from the USA. Oh, nice. You are Ahmed Johnson. No, I'm only joking. Obviously. Ahmed Johnson's from the USA. Former Intercontinental Champion. All right. Let's try and get there. Oh, all right. I've got to find this. Where is this? New South Wales Rugby League at Assemble Sports. Oh, they've taken it down. It doesn't exist anymore. Jack, ahoy there, mate. How are you doing today? They've taken the They've taken the New South Wales team picker down. I wonder if that means there's a new one. New South Wales Blues team picker 2023. They've taken it down. Unbelievable. See? Too slow, missed out. Anyway, I don't need the team picker. I don't need the team picker thing to be able to pick the New South Wales Origin team. Kind of do, actually. Oh, that's devastating. Devastating. They've taken it away. Dan, who will win tonight? Bellyache or Bennett? Oh, by the way, Vobsy's broken away at the front once again. Morgan Harper. Oh, hey. Morgan Harper. How disappointing has Morgan Harper been? In all honesty, how disappointing has Morgan Harper been? He really, really has had what I would consider to be a breakout season. And now just very disappointing. He has not come back with the same intensity. So yeah, I'm actually with you on that one. Morgan Harper is certainly dispensable for the Manly Sea Eagles. That is for sure. Lakers. Oh, we don't do NBA here. Sorry. Not without Michelle. Anyway, Michelle's the NBA fan. We don't really get into it for the most part. Anyway, I can't believe that they've taken down that New South Wales team picker. That's going to make it. It's going to make it very difficult for me to get anything on the screen. I can still pick the team. Picking the team is fine. It's just going to make it difficult for me to put the usual graphics on the screen. And you know me, I'm all about the production. I love the production value. The production value has got to be top notch. So that probably makes that a little bit difficult. Anyways, we wouldn't have got through it anyway. Will Jason Saab make Origin? Probably not No, probably not. I can't imagine. I mean, look, never say never. On current form, no. Just looking at value in the future, it's certainly plausible. It would just be a matter of Queensland hacked the New South Wales. It was honestly working just the other night. I had it all up and running, and I was going to pick it. Oh, well, it doesn't matter. It's not a big problem. Not a big issue at all. Oh. KO Sports has decided to be KO Sports. What a surprise. We must be near the second half anyway. It's too late. Yes, both teams are out on the field, ready to get this second half underway. Oh, God, I didn't even get a chance to have a break. underway we go in the second half. 12 points to 6 in favour of the Sharks. Fitzy would have put it up them at half-time, I'm sure. He would have given them a big serving at the half-time break. For the Knights, they'll be happy to only be behind by 6 the way that they started the game, but it was all the Knights after the Sharks had that try disallowed. Oh, God, absolutely 0 ticks on my multi done, but then I'm the stupid idiot who picked the wrong edge of the Sharks. I honestly can't believe that. That surprises even me that I was that dense today. To stand here in the pre-game and talk all about how the Sharks in the preseason tore the Knights apart on the left-hand edge and then proceed to put all the right-hand side players of the Sharks in the multi. If you reverse that, so Katoa would have become Mulatalo, who has scored a try. Ramian would have become Connor Tracey, who hasn't scored yet. And Nikora would have become Will Kennedy, who has scored a try. So I would have had 2 of the 4 legs down already if I actually listened to myself. Game ML says, I'm sorry if I don't watch the whole stream. Well, first and foremost, you don't need to apologize for that. You'll be in and out, but tonight you only have 1 device, so you might watch the game. Or I might like to do like I am now, just watching the stream. Oh, I see. So you've only got 1 device, so you can't watch and listen at the same time. Unless you're on YouTube Premium. Because YouTube Premium allows you to do the minimized viewing on the phones. This has been a great set from the Knights, though. They're 5th and last. They're 12 out from the line. An attacking kick opportunity for Hastings on the right. Crossfield kick. Oh, no pressure at all on Mulatalo. And he brings it back into the field of play with ease. They would like their time over again there, the Knights. And it's a one-on-one strip. Knocked on by the Knights. Shark scrum. This is my chance for a break that I didn't get at half-time. Hey, Gamer Mel, how about this? I had this dream the other night. That Arcade Angel and myself collaborated on a YouTube channel. Can you imagine? Like, you're someone who has been subscribed to both of us over the years. I can only imagine what that content would be. But I remember waking up and going, you know what? That's actually not a ridiculous concept. 5th and last for the Sharks. The ball goes high. Ramian chases through, taps it back, and this might have been knocked on by the Knights. No, it's all off the Sharks, and Crossland dives on the loose ball. They've got them pinned down here, though. And now a one-on-one steal on Lockie Miller, and the Sharks have got the ball back. Sione Katoa with the steal, and the Sharks now 20 out from the line. Good shape to the left. Tracey shrugs away from the tackle. Still going, Connor Tracey. And that would have been the 3rd of 4 for the multi. They are killing them down the left-hand edge, like I said in the pre-game, but did not back it up with my anytime try scorer tips for whatever reason, I obviously had a complete and total brain explosion. Katoa would have been Mulatalo, tick. Nikora would have been Kennedy, tick. Ramian would have been Connor Tracey, tick. I would have been 3 legs in on the multi had I actually had my betting actually backed up my pre-game spiel. I'm so angry at myself over that. I am legitimately pissed at myself over that. They're killing them down this left-hand edge again. And I picked all the right-hand edge players. I must have just had a brain fart when I was putting the players in. Unbelievable. But anyways, the Sharks with another try down that left-hand edge. 16 points to 6. The kick to come. They are just slaughtering the Knights down that side of the field. Connor Tracey is surely over the past 2 weeks, Connor Tracey has made a huge case for himself to replace Siosifa Talakai full-time in this Sharks backline. A legitimate centre. Hines strikes it well. It's straight down the middle. 18 points to 6. The Sharks go ahead. But Connor Tracey has surely, over the past fortnight, put this Siosifa Talakai experiment well and truly to bed. But I have no faith in that. I honestly have no faith in that. People seem to love the sofa. And I can only imagine Talakai gets recalled once he's back from injury. But good Lord, you can't watch the way the Sharks have been without him and go, he deserves his spot back. But then, coaches be weird. Coaches be weird, especially New South Wales coaches. And now their tails are up here, the Sharks. Another great start to the half. Can they keep it up for the full 40 this time, though? 18 points to 6. At the moment, winning by this margin puts them back ahead of the Broncos on the table. Broncos drop to 4th on the live ladder. Right now, Broncos are dropping to 4th. Sharks keep it alive. Wade Graham's on the field. Oh, Phoenix Crossland is down in back play, and he is not happy. Not a happy camper. Wonder what's happened there. Copped a bit of a blow. Oh, he's copped a knee to the face unintentionally. Phoenix Crossland has just copped Wade Graham's knee right in the schnoz. And he is down. And he has got to go off for a HIA. Surely this is off for a HIA. What do you mean Wade Graham might get away with this? Of course he will get away with that. It's not like he did it on purpose. He had no sight on the player as Katoa gets it, passes it back to Nikora. Beware the second kick. It pops up for the Sharks. And the Sharks, they're tackled centimetres short of the line. And this will be the Knights' ball. Brayley nearly getting over the line. The Knights start this set literally centimetres away from their own try line. Just don't give away any penalties here, Sharks. No penalties will be the order of the day for them here on this set of 6. Big defense, keeping them pinned down. Another try would certainly go a long way towards securing this game. Plenty of time left, of course. Plenty of time for the Sharks to go to sleep. 5th and last, Knights just outside the 40. Great run by Lockie Miller. Another solid game from him, apart from that one mistake. Ponga puts it high. Kennedy takes it on the full and will bring it back with interest. Bobsy says Dolphins play at Suncorp tonight in case we haven't had enough games there this season. No, we're going to get... That's the thing. Now the Dolphins who are the Redcliffe Dolphins, although the NRL will not acknowledge the fact that they're from Redcliffe, also playing their games at Suncorp means we get double the amount of games at Suncorp this season. That's fabulous. I just love the fact that the Broncos have so many games at Suncorp and they're still going to struggle to make the 8 this season. People laughed at me. Oh, Hines goes straight through, stepping, weaving, finding space, and he loses the ball. Nico Hines, and he's hurt. Hines is hurt. Hines is hurt. A step off the right foot, back in field, shrugs off one defender, breaks the second tackle, and then he is cut down from behind, and he has fallen heavily on his knees, loses the ball in the contact, and he's not 100% coming out of that one. Although he's up and about now, Nico. Nine and a half minutes gone in this second half. Sharks are up 18 points to 6. Just ever so slightly on top. Ever so slightly on top in this one. The Cronulla Sharks. But a long way to go. But yeah, I find it hilarious that just a few weeks ago, I had all the Broncos supporters in the chat room jumping down my throat about me suggesting that first place on the table didn't really paint the picture of their season so far because they've never left Queensland yet. And they still haven't left Queensland yet, and they're already going to be down to 4th at the end of this round. And if the Storm somehow the Storm beat the Dolphins by 70 or 80 points, I mean, it's unlikely, but should it happen, then they'll be down even further. They'll be in 5th spot. Oh, Kennedy with a great kick return, scampering away from 2 tackles. And they literally just stopped short of abusing me. The Broncos supporters. They just stopped short of abusing me because they bought into their own hype. The Broncos were top of the table, yes. And you can only play what's in front of you, yes. They deserved. Oh, Hazelton breaks straight through. Cover defense is there for the Knights. It's the Sharks right on top, though, here. 29 minutes to go. Tackle 4. Brayley goes short side. Hines sees some space. Nakora out to Katoa. Cuts back in field. It's got Hines in support. They go back left. In front of the posts. Just need a settler here. Jack Williams on the 5th and last. Now they can get a kick away. 10 out from the line, the Sharks. Midfield. They go left. Moylan, the short ball. And, who was that? Was it Jack Williams again, for Christ's sake? Has Jack Williams just dropped his load again? I realised what that sounded like. Hazelton, Fitzy 2.0. What a burst. And I think it was, once again, Jack Williams, who has had an absolute disaster of a game. Williams. Single-handedly, Williams has probably cost the team about 10 or 12 points tonight. Today. The Knights survive. It stays a 12-point margin, but it's all Sharks. I don't think so either, Mark O'Brien. And ahoy there, Mark O'Brien, by the way. Mark O'Brien has asked, has Ponga done enough for State of Origin? I don't think so. Thing is, Queensland will go with incumbency over form. Always. Always. Incumbency over form. So I think Ponga gets selected. Reece Walsh can consider himself a little unlucky. But then again, Reece Walsh has shat the bed quite a few times over the past few weeks to just raise question marks about how well he is actually traveling, in my opinion. So, fifth and last, Sharks put it through, and Marju takes the ball. Well, doesn't even leap for it. He's like, bollocks to you. You guys can jump for it. I'll just stand here and catch it. I'll be fine. And fine he was, bringing the ball down. Yeah, that's exactly it, Vopsy. That's pretty much the point that I was trying to make, and you've surmised it clearly and concisely in one sentence, which I struggled to do. Reece Walsh hasn't been very good in the big games for the Broncos this season. And that's probably what's going to... Ponga's been there, done that on the big stage at State of Origin before. So I dare say he will get the nod as long as he's healthy. I mean, let's not forget, he went off for another HIA today inside the first 4 minutes. So that's got to factor into it as well, surely. From dummy half, Brayley to Moylan. Moylan gets all confused. It's six again, and Moylan's put the kick in, the great goof. You just got a 6 again, you big goof. Ah, well, they get the penalty. Advantage played by the referee. Lucky there. Lucky there. Matt Moylan gets away with murder. A 6 again call. He puts the kick in. It's way too heavy and it goes dead. And I was ready to castrate him, send him down to New South Wales Cup or below. And the referee has played advantage and given Matt Moylan a lifeline. The lifeline of all lifelines. The great galoot. What a stupid kick when you've just had a 6 again call. Gets away with that one. The advantage rule in full effect here in the NRL. And they're going to take the 2. They are going to take the 2. They're going to make it 20 points to 6. And that is a testament, quite honestly, to the Newcastle Knights defense. As much as we like to joke around, it's one of our catchphrases here at the West of World of Sports. Take the 2. It's one of our catch cries. But this is a legitimate testament to the Knights' defense. Taking the 2. Going out by 14 with 24 minutes to go. But this has been far from as convincing as a 14-point margin suggests. Let me just be very clear about that. As a Sharks supporter watching a Sharks game, Adam O'Brien looks really unhappy in the coach's box. Really unhappy. I don't know why, because his team is still hanging in there. Just hanging on in. And the Sharks have been far from convincing. And this is what the Sharks do. They can look like absolute world beaters for about 10 or 15 minutes a half. And then they just completely suck the air out of the whole stadium for the rest of the game. Mark O'Brien says, can't see Gags getting the stripes. No. Speaking of incumbency, Gagai is the definition of a Queensland player who's got a State of Origin switch. But age also has to start playing a part at some point too. And look, he's younger than I am, I'm pretty sure. I'm fairly sure he's younger than me. But 32 is old for a rugby league player, especially at representative level. Age has to play a part at some point, especially when you've got quality youngsters coming through in the same positions. Whoops. Take your spot. So, as much as Gagai has had his state of origin switch like the evil and good Krusty the Clown doll on The Simpsons for all these years, no matter how badly he's going at club level, stinking the joint out, he will play well at Origin. At some point, age and form has to start playing a factor. Queensland have got quality players coming through on the wing and in centre to take his spot. So, long story short, extremely long story short, Mark O'Brien, I do agree. I can't see any scenario where Gagai gets the nod this season. Bobsy says Hammer should be fullback for Queensland if Ponga gets injured. As a New South Wales supporter, I'm really cheering for Reece Walsh, though. I really, really hope that Reece Walsh gets picked. Even if everybody's fit, I hope Reece Walsh is there. As a Blues supporter, I'm really, really hoping that Queensland pick Reece Walsh somewhere in the team. Because yes, he can be a quality player, but if a team is a full-bodied organism, then as it stands right now in 2023, Reece Walsh is the dandruff. Lakey. So I'm really, really hoping, as a Blues supporter, that Reece Walsh gets picked for the Queensland Origin squad. Please! We need all the help we can get. Ponga puts the grubber through. Will Kennedy is perfectly positioned, like every good fullback is, and funnily enough, Latrell never is. Every good fullback perfectly positioned, and he's there to cover off the attacking threat of that kick. Latrell still would have been 10 metres over the other side of the goalposts on the far side of the field in that scenario, sucking in the big ones. Oh, Connor Tracey with the loose carry. The ball spills out and the Knights get invited back into this contest. Oh, no. You don't like to see mistakes like that from a Connor Tracey because that means that Siosifa Talakai is probably getting brought back into this team straight away as soon as he's fit. Connor Tracey has done so well in every area of the game, but just a couple of carries now. A couple of times it's been a bit loose and he's dropped the ball. Oh, that's scary because it gives Talakai the nod. 19 of 33 completions, 58% across the whole game. How in Christ's name are the Sharks ahead by 14 points with a 58% completion rate? 58% completion rate, and they're ahead by 14 points. Pretty much goes to show how terrible the Knights are, in my opinion. But this has been a dire performance from the Sharks. 58% completion rate is not going to win any games against the other top 8 teams. None. And that's been the Sharks' problem for the past few seasons, is they can't win games against the other top 8 teams. And you're not going to win against the top teams with a 58% completion rate. It's unacceptable at any level of the game. I mean, there would be some under 12 teams that would be culling some players for a 58% completion rate. Terrible. Alan Ponga knocks the ball on, and has he just dropped his Queensland jersey in the process? That was a massive, massive blue. What has he done? Oh, he is clearly not right in the head. He put the ball down and walked away, and that head knock at the start of the game is clearly still affecting him. He's thought it was the last tackle. He's put the ball down and walked away from the play the ball area. Tell me that is a guy who is clear in the head. He's had one head knock too many already, and it's only going to get worse from here, I'm afraid, for young Kalen Ponga, who would have had a big career ahead of him had he stayed at fullback, but they've put him in the front line. They've put him into heavy contact. He gets a HIA at least one every week, and this is the result of a HIA every week. A complete and total brain-dead doofus who does something like that on tackle 4. Anyway, that might be a little bit harsh. But I'm concerned about him. I'm concerned about him as a human being. He's a young man. I can be forgiven. I could be forgiven for doing something like that. A youngster like Kalen Ponga shouldn't be. I mean, that's not right. He copped a blow to the head at the start of the game. Crazy stuff. Vopsy says, wait, didn't Talakai play Origin one year? Yeah, last year, I'm pretty sure. Last year, for some reason, he got picked. Oh, he had that one really, really good. Well, see, here's the thing. Here's the Siosifa Talakai story. Talakai's a forward. Funnily enough. I mean, you wouldn't know it to look at him, would you? Talakai's a forward. I'm being sarcastic, by the way. It's like another Simpsons thing. When Homer, by the way, Marge, I was being sarcastic. And she's just like, well, duh. Yes, obviously I'm being sarcastic. You wouldn't know it to look at him, that he's a forward. The Sharks last season went through so many backline players. There were so many injuries in the backline. It was pretty much a last resort. It was a last resort. Talakai made, I want to say it was Morgan Harper. This conversation's basically going full circle. Remember the first half, the Manly supporter, Ahmed, I think it was. Ahmed was asking about who could be traded from Manly, and he said Morgan Harper. Talakai made Morgan Harper his bitch that night. And then, for some reason, because he just had such a blockbuster game, running over Morgan Harper at will, that one game against Manly, that one single game against Manly, where it was tried out of desperation and worked, they persisted with it all year. He got picked for Origin based off that one game, that one good performance in the lead up to Origin. It just so happened that the timing as well was right in the lead up to Origin. And so everybody stood up and took notice. What we found out come the end of the year, though, was that maybe Morgan Harper is just shit. Because Talakai was shut down by every other team for the rest of the year. Talakai's been shut down by every team this year. And he's not a centre, and the experiment should well and truly end. Hopefully, Connor Tracey has done enough this past fortnight with Talakai out injured to make Fitzy see the light of day and go, okay, I can understand Fitzy's situation. He wouldn't have been paying attention to what was happening with the Sharks necessarily. He has inherited this team. He's come in as the new coach. Talakai was already on the books. No, wait, hang on. Fitzy took over last year. So it would have been Fitzy's decision to put him there. All right. Well, that point is completely moot then. I was going to say I give forgiveness to Fitzy because he's come in and he's taken over and not necessarily following, so he would have seen Talakai as a centre because that's how it was, but it wasn't. Now that I think about it, he would have been the one that put him there out of desperation in the first place. So that's a completely moot point. Forget about it. It's Fitzy's fault. Hines grubbers into the end goal. Gagai's back there to clean up for the Knights, and it's a result for the Sharks, though. A result for the Sharkies. 20 points to 6. 14 minutes to go, and a goal line dropout. Yeah, so no forgiveness at all for Fitzy for that one. But hopefully, anyways, hopefully he has seen the light of day now. Hopefully Connor Tracey's done enough. Short dropout is a little bit too short. It bounces over the 10 though, and it's tapped back, and that is a result from a short dropout. Once every 72 times, there is a result for the short dropout. Those are not the sort of odds that make me want to persist with it, but the Knights have come away with it on this instance. I still don't understand it. I really, really don't. But it's worked out this time for the Knights, the short dropout. It honestly does not pay dividends anywhere near often enough for me to justify doing it. But whatever. Who is assistant coach for the Sharks? Asked Fopsy. If I'm not mistaken, and I might be mistaken, but if I'm not mistaken, I think Josh Hannay is still there. Josh Hannay took over when what's his face was fired. What's his face that's now the assistant at the... He might be... Is he the assistant at the Dragons? The old Sharks coach. The fill-in Sharks coach. Took over when Flanagan had all those issues. All those legal issues. Morris. Josh Morris? Was that his name? Josh Morris was the assistant coach with Josh Hannay. Flanagan got cancelled, and Morris took over. They always wanted Fitzy after that, so it was only a temporary gig. And then Morris got shown the door, and Hannay took over. Oh, maybe it's not Morris. Hang on, let me look it up. John Morris. There you go. John Morris. And John Morris has now gone to the Rabbitohs as an assistant coach. I knew it started with a J and ended in Morris. I got that part right. J and Morris. All right. Anyway, Sharks, there's 11 minutes to go. They could put this game to bed with a try here, I dare say. 14 points the difference. If they go up by 20 with 10 to go, I think that will probably be it. Tackle 3, 5 out from the line. Hunt keeps it alive. Passes back. Hines swoops on the loose ball. Nakora on the inside. Keeps it alive to Brayley. Brayley with support by Hunt. Hunt for the line. Hunt is over. Hunt scores the try. 24 points to 6, kick to come. And that will surely be the game for the Sharks. And this will move them up ahead of the Broncos to 3rd on the ladder. And the Broncos drop to 4th. And all you Broncos supporters pretty much abused me a couple of weeks ago when I said the Broncos realistically, whilst they are on top of the table, realistically are probably a 5th or 6th position team. And suddenly you find yourselves in 4th spot. And suddenly what I said isn't so funny anymore, is it, Broncos supporters? It's more... It's closer to reality than you think. Try time for the Sharkies. 24 points to 6, the kick to come. Royce Hunt. Oh, channeling Andrew Fafita from the grand final in 2016 against the Storm. Just bulldozing over the defenders. Hines from right beside the post. Easy conversion. 26 points to 6. 9 minutes to go. The Sharks up to third on the ladder at the moment. If they can hold on to this margin. It's been a far from convincing performance, though. I mean, I would be very concerned still. If I'm Fitzy, I am still very, very concerned about the completion rate, which has only just improved to 60% across the course of this game. 60%. Hines has been taken out in the air here by Dominic Young. Oh, and bring back the biff. Bring back the biff. Hines has been taken out in the air by Dom Young, and Dom Young should be sent from the field for that. That is a dangerous play. It is just a penalty. I can't believe that's not a send-off. I mean, that is as dangerous as it gets. Ah, no, to be fair. Actually, seeing the replay, Dom Young has just slipped over. Dom Young's just slipped over while he's trying to run through. I thought he dived and took Hines' legs out. He's just slipped, to be fair. He's just slipped while he's trying to race through and put pressure on. It looked terrible. It looked horrible live. It looked absolutely terrible live. But seeing the replay, he's just slipped. He's fallen over his own feet, the great big galoot. And he's accidentally clipped Hines on the way through. I'm happy with just a penalty there. Royce Hunt, the try scorer, another big run. 7.5 minutes to go. 20 points the difference. Hines, the kick in. Katoa's chasing. Katoa versus Miller. Miller reels it in, but then he is taken with the cover defense of Ramian and Kennedy. A metre out from the line. They nearly pinned him back into his own in-goal there. That was a great kick chase by the Sharks. Great kick from Nico Hines. Very great kick chase. Spills out the back to Hastings for the Knights. They have got 6 minutes 40 to do something here, the Knights. Fifth and last, it goes to Ponga on the blind side. He runs it to the line. The pop pass. This will be 6 again. Newcastle. 6 more tackles. Gagai comes away with it. And that works out well for Newcastle. 6.5 to go. Can they put a dent in this for and against? An offload again. Keeping the ball alive here, Newcastle. Best runs into Ramian and is driven backwards in the tackle. 4 tackles up their sleeve, though. They're 10 out from the Sharks line. Miller in at first. Receiver. Here's a big bust by Thompson. He's over the line. Thompson, has he got the ball down? Oh, there's bodies under him. Will Kennedy take a bow? We're going to have a look, but Will Kennedy, once again, gets himself in a position where he can get under the ball. Trap it. It's held up. You're still on here, Vobsy. They go to the right-hand side. Cut back in field with Lockie Miller. The Knights, 5.5. Oh, the ball spills out the side. And it's knocked on. Oh, it's not looking so good now because the Sharks get the ball back. With 5.5 to go, their own 10-metre line. That was their chance, though. 20 points the difference. They could have got Dom Young into the game in attacking range there, but Lockie Miller, as forward as it gets. He had his back to the opposition try line and he tries to pop the pass out. What was he thinking? Terrible decision there from Lockie Miller to try the offload. Scrum down, 10 out for the Sharks from their own line. but a 20-point lead. It's hard to justify a 20-point lead for the Sharks, in all honesty. When you look at the stats, they've improved their stats to 60%, 63% now, but 24 from 38 completion rate is completely unacceptable. They've got the bye next week. They've got the Broncos at home the week after. Then they've got the Storm and they've got the Bulldogs, and then they've got another bye. That's a very lopsided draw for them. A bye, 3 games, and then the other bye. But anyway, I think the Sharks are great value to beat the Broncos at home. Sharks at home. Sharkies at home, I think, will give the Broncos a good run for their money, especially during the Origin period. It's hard to know if any of the Origin players will be backing up for the Broncos. Payne Haas is a big loss for the Broncos if the Origin players aren't backing up. Sharks at home, they could very easily take that one. And then the Broncos might be out of the 8 come the end of next week. Wouldn't that be a turn up? Bobsy says, I can't wait to verse the Panthers again in round 15. Just hope we don't lose by 40 again. It'll be interesting to see what happens, because the Origin players will be theoretically available again. It's just a matter of, do they play them? Do they play them? And the Panthers have a few more Origin outs than the Roosters, so it'll be interesting. But I do believe the Origin players will be ready to back up by that round, as we were talking about on Discord. And another loose pass, and another big mistake by the Knights. 3 minutes to go. Playing like wooden spooners. I predicted the Knights for the wooden spoon at the start of the year, and they are playing like wooden spooners tonight, which has been very, very lucky for the Sharks. Because really, the Sharks, a 63% completion rate, they have just been extremely lucky that the Knights themselves are only traveling at 68%. If the Knights were playing good enough footy that they were completing at 80% and putting pressure on and winning the territory and everything, the Sharks would have been in trouble tonight, because they have been shit. The Sharks have been awful. They really have. 63% completion rate for a top 4 team is just bollocks. They have just been lucky. The Knights only completing at 68% themselves. And now a penalty to the Sharks. Take the 2. Take the 2, boys. Why not? Another 2-pointer. Nope. 20 points up. They want more. It's banged into touch. Finucane with the hit up. A minute and a half to go. The Sharks have leapfrogged the Broncos here, and they go up into 3rd spot in the ladder. Shape out to the right. Moylan with the short ball to Nakora. Tackle 2, 10 out on this right-hand side. Graham into dummy half. They go left. Hines, short ball to Hunt. Hunt is taken. Sarah Emmanuel. Ahoy there. Halftime score was 12 points to 6 to the Sharks. Oh, loose puck. Jack bloody Williams again. Oh, Jack Williams can piss right off. Jack Williams can bugger right off for the 3rd time tonight at least. Inside the Knights' 10-metre line, Jack Williams, under no pressure, has dropped the ball. He can go and have a seat with Talakai on the sidelines, thanks. Surely we've got better players than that great big goof. dropping the ball every time he's in the 10-meter zone. God damn it. Still, 26 points to 6 in favor of the Sharks. 12 points to 6 at halftime. Now some expansive play from Newcastle with 10 seconds left. And Dom Young drops the ball forward. It's been scrappy, to say the least. And the last play of the game, Moylan will just meekly surrender and go into contact as the Cronulla Sharks have won 26 points to 6. But as a Sharks supporter, a very great visual right there was a clearly pissed off and unhappy Craig Fitzgibbon, because there is no way we can walk away from this and be satisfied in that performance. Terrible it was. Terrible. We were just lucky that we put in such a shit show against a wooden spoon capable team like the Knights. Because any other team would not have we wouldn't have had a 20-point win today. That was a terrible performance, and I'm so glad that I saw Fitzy look visibly disturbed as he got up and walked away from the coach's box there, because they've got a lot to talk about in the Sheds. If they want to be contenders this season, they've got a lot to talk about and a lot to fix up, because that was a bloody shambles. And look, a 20-point victory, you take it whenever you can get it. Of course, this is sport, this is rugby league, and you take a win however you get one. Especially a 20-point win. But by God, that was far from convincing. That was a terrible performance by the Sharks. And they were just lucky that they were playing a cellar-dweller team like the Knights. Terrible performance. Anyway. Kaka Schnee, you just need the Cowboys by 1-12. Well, I'm still not at 100% myself. My head is still not completely in the game. As I said, there's some things going on behind the scenes. And I really don't want to do all the games tonight. So I was obviously going to do the Sharks game. I will sit out the Cowboys-Tigers game. I will give serious consideration to the Dolphins-Storm game later on, because I do think that will be a cracker. And I want to show off my new intro video, which will surely be done by then. So I will say thank you very much, Wasted Water Sports, for joining me for this one. The Sharks have got the win. Oh, it was scrappy. It was far from convincing, despite the scoreline. But a win is a win. Sharks are up in the third spot, jumping above the Broncos now on the ladder, which is fantastic. I'm going to have myself a break. And, yeah, let's commit to it. Let's commit to it right here, right now. Dolphins, Storm, coming up 7:30 tonight. Wasted Water Sports will be here to bring you all the action in a couple of hours' time. Dolphins, Storm, Bennett versus Bellyache. Let's do it. Until then,